Hey guys, welcome back to Coffee, Cocktails, and Combos with Dr. B and Kelly D. And we are doing episode 2 of the vagus nerve and how it can create some chaos, but how we can beautifully manage and maintain it so it can serve us well. And so our desire here is that by the end of these 3 episodes, you not only are aware of what it is and what it does, but also have the tools literally at your fingertips that you can apply anytime, anywhere. And they're so stinking quick that you can help to bring yourself down out of that like fight or flight, anxiety ridden, hypertonic, unhealthy state and just take control. Take control of your day, of your life, of your breath, of all the things. So that's what we're here for. And I will let Kelly D talk to you first about just some of the burnout and the signs and symptoms we see. So, Kelly, it's all yours.
Thank you. So, welcome. So, I'm still kind of hacking a little bit, so I will try to keep it as brief so I don't sound too hoarse. Yeah, so nerve burnout is a real thing, and there's been a huge influx of information right now about the vagus nerve and how you can stimulate it to actually calm down signs and symptoms. So
Yeah.
leading into that, there's things like anxiety in the body and the mind. There's depression that gets affected, bloating, stomach, abdominal. Sometimes our heart rate that changes, as well as chronic stress in the body,
Mm-hmm.
hoarseness in the voice, loss of appetite, all of these things, because the vagus nerve is like the largest nerve in the body, and it does affect both our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? So you could say that all of those symptoms also are signs of menopause or just dis-ease in the body and in the
Yeah.
mind. That's true because the vagus nerve uh, occupies all of that, right? It
Mm-hmm.
affects our
Mm-hmm.
head, heart, and our belly mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to
So
add on?
if you guys weren't able to jump on episode 1 of this series, just a real quick and dirty vagus nerve is your 10th cranial nerve. So it starts up in your noggin and comes down and courses behind your ears. And then right about the inner clavicles there, it comes down and innervates your heart, your lungs, and then transcends through the respiratory diaphragm at the bottom of your rib cage and then goes into your digestive system. So just like Kelly D is saying, heart palpitations, heart rate racing, depending on what the vagus nerve is doing, if it's more in that hypertonic state or more in that hypo, meaning like more of that depressed state. How is it innervating? Is it over innervating? Is it not innervating well? So we want it to be regulated because we really want to see that, you can get in that fight or flight and that sympathetic. You got to run for your life. You got to like defend yourself in some way or be able to manage whatever is in front of you. But at the same time, like we use that gazelle lion example, is to be able to come out of that pretty quick once you know you're safe, once you know that you are good to go and be able to come and flip out of that back into that parasympathetic state because that's where
Yeah.
we rest, digest, and repair. So I'll give a quick little story. I took a day away with an entrepreneur friend here last weekend, and we just went up for the night, get out of Dodge, be in nature. It was a big rainy weekend, but there's a huge lake and trees, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. And it was perfect. It was like a 24-hour turnaround, but like, let's just go unwind, kick back, girl talk, all the fun things. So middle of the night. So it's, we're in this little condo, and middle of the night, and I've never been there. It's new for me, right? Middle of the night, I hear this bang. Right. Like I jump out of, like I sit up and I was like, I don't know anything around me. I'm like, am I safe? Did somebody just break in? Like, it's like 3 in the morning. I
Is
don't
it a
know.
bear?
Yeah, right. I mean, it could have been. But then I can hear her downstairs, like she's maybe in the bathroom and maybe like, put the toilet seat up and it fell is kind of what my mind is doing. But I mean, in that moment where I like woke, right? And then I realized it only took 30 seconds, probably realized what was, and I started tapping. You are safe. I am safe. I am safe. You are safe. Like going through this whole, And then within seconds, I was able to fall back asleep. But in that moment, I mean, you guys have probably experienced that where you wake up and then you're like, and I couldn't fall back asleep.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been prime example here, but I knew I was safe. I knew how to share with my body and have that conversation to be like, yeah, girl, you're good. Go back to sleep. So yeah, so that's what we through this series want to teach you guys is the ability to have control over regulating and maintaining, because this can affect balance when the vagus nerve is off. It can affect, like Kelly said, like anxiety, stress, overwhelm, digestive, and so many digestive issues, including bloat, sluggishness, so lack of absorption, all the things. So it really, really, really has so many impactful pieces to our function and flow,
Yep.
and our well-being and our homeostasis. So it's really an important structure to have some education around, which is what we're hopeful to bring you guys. But then also realizing you can control it, and it's something you can do again when it's in your toolbox that you can easily come back and be like, and I know I'm safe, right? Just like my little situation
Right.
was. So um
Yeah,
yeah.
when I kind of started getting into all of this work, I was going through my divorce with my husband, and when we'd have to go to court and we'd have to meet, or
Mm,
we'd have to,
mm,
my we'd have to do the drop off with my son. Like I just in there was so much like
mm.
emotional trauma that was affecting. I could feel my whole body just completely tense up. And I started
Yeah.
doing that's actually when I started getting involved with yoga and the
Mm,
breath work, right? So I would actually be in the bathroom in the
yeah.
courthouse doing a power
Mm,
pose in the bathroom. And then
mm,
I started to doing like the head, heart, and belly tapping, right?
yeah.
So that really helped me just to get kind of refocused again and rebalanced, and like you had said, get into a state of homeostasis, which is balance with our nervous system, right? Which is our whole body. So just creating that environment, right? Like just to share
Mhm,
my own story of how I utilized it and how I'm this works so well, and how
mhm.
impactful that the vagus nerve is in our body, right? And in our
Right.
health
Right.
overall.
Yeah. So impactful.
Mhm.
And I think, when we talk about empowering others, so like the story with the young boy, the story with me going back to sleep, your story of like, hey, how do I walk into this? Because we're life situations, we're all going to deal with things that are unpleasant. And I mean, it could just simply be, I've had this experience where, and it's been a while because now I have the tools, right? But where I would get off of work and I'd have a 35-minute drive with traffic, depending on traffic, depending on lights. And I had to be at the school by X minute, right? And it
Yeah.
was like, I don't actually know if I'm going to get there in time. And then what? And then what? La, 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 right? So I can recall specifically a day where it was hustle my tail to get to school and I was pushing it. And I remember pulling into the parking lot at school, probably within the minute or two I needed to be there, and literally having the awareness that I had not taken a breath the entire 30-minute drive, 35-minute drive, whatever it was. And I remember going,
I'm
because I
here.
was
I
just like,
made
I
it.
got to get there. I got to make this turn. And how many of us live in that state
Hmm.
majority of the time?
Yeah.
Unless we are
It's our
intentional,
society.
right?
Yeah. It's
Right.
society.
Totally. And, not to bring up COVID for the 800th time, because, well, it's
Eight
COVID.
millions.
But I think a blessing of COVID, if I can say that respectfully, is that as a society, a lot of us were forced to kind of come down out of that, like, turn left, go right, up, da, 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 right? And we were able to go, oh, this is what this is like to just kind of be, to spend more time with family, to embrace going for a walk. Because when else can you get out of the house? Can't even go to the grocery store, whatever, whatever. And so I think
Mhm.
a blessing was that we were gifted that. And I think for quite a few years, a lot of people sustain that kind of lower, I don't know the right word, but that lifestyle of a little more chill, a little
Mhm.
less go, go, go. But I think we've now started to like kind of get back into those old patterns of, all right, and my kids are signed up for 18 different extracurriculars. And I also have 43 jobs and this other thing that I want to do. And then, okay, well, we'll go through the drive through, but food creates our mood. So we'll go through the drive-through, we'll eat this unhealthy food, and then I don't feel good, and then, right? So I think we're kind of going back into that. And so I'm hopeful that these episodes will help us to kind of take that moment and really come back within and have that
Mhm.
as, have that ability to have control
Yeah,
once we are aware and be able to say, oh, I don't have to live this way. I can actually choose to come back into this, right? Into this parasympathetic gazelle grazing state. Or if you watched episode 1, the golden retriever, right? And so, yeah, so it's really important for us to know that we can manage it when that vagus nerve is out of whack,
100%.
right?
100% for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So in episode 3, you guys, what we really want to do is bring it together like we always love to do. It's a Kelly D thing for sure. And just be able to give you guys those tools to add to your toolbox. And like we've said in all the episodes, it's so simple. It's quick. It's just
Hmm.
knowing that they're there and knowing when to use them. And I think, I feel like we do need to just chat a little bit more on kind of that burnout state that you had mentioned at the beginning. So maybe talk to us just a little bit more about what that feels like, menopausal or not.
Yeah. And so you can just really right now, if you want to, I invite you as always, just to kind of close your eyes and just do a quick body scan and notice, like, are your hands clutching? Are your
Mhm.
fit, like, are you in a fist
Yeah.
mode? Is your jaw clenched?
Mhm.
Are you breathing okay? Can you just consciously take a breath in through your nose and then exhale? How does your stomach feel? Right? Is your mind like racing? All of these things. If you are sitting there like this right now, you are on sympathetic overload. So I invite you to open up your hands, open up your
Yeah.
chest, smile, right? And just let your feet touch the ground. Like notice how your body feels.
Yeah.
And then notice what that stressor is. Is there one particular thing right now in the last half an hour, say,
Mhm.
that has now become a stressor for you? Can you just move it to the side just for a few minutes and let your body decompress? And
Mhm.
decompressing, which we can do the next series, but just sharing right now so you know how it feels in your body and how it creates that chronic state of anxiety, the fatigue, the
Yeah.
oh, I have to be there right now, and how we create that element of always in sympathetic. So getting
Mhm.
back to into your body, right? Recognizing what that stressor is or was or is going to be, but being present in the moment for
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I do this all the time. I notice that my fists are like this if I'm about something, right? So I consciously am always opening them up.
Yeah. I see it a lot. So I am a pelvic floor, pelvic and sexual health rehab practitioner, and I see it a lot in that pelvic health world. That a lot of the clenching is through that lower end, and so in that floor, and a lot of the hypertonicity, so the tightness of the muscles, is as a result of one. I'm just going to say lack of awareness. Like we're clenched, and we've been clenched for years. Maybe we felt unsafe. Maybe we're go go go, whatever it might be, and we aren't aware of it, so then therefore we don't even know it's there, so then we don't know how to bring ourselves down and out of that and allow for that rest, repair, and that homeostasis, right? So it's a constant holding pattern, which then is going to create an adaptive muscle that's going to be constricted and tight. But that might cause pain, that might cause just tension, lines of tension through the body. So it's really imperative, like what Kelly D is saying, is I can do that scan. Okay, am I clenching my jaw? Am I so tight through here and I didn't even realize it? Or like when I was driving and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even take a breath that whole 35 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or very shallow, right? Versus really being able to come into that breath and seeing how that changes and softens our entire system, right? And then allows for that natural homeostasis to occur that doesn't suck the energy out of us. So yeah, so
And
thanks for sharing that.
yeah, and not to, cling on to any of that, but like in my
Pun
practice,
intended, guys. Pun
right,
intended.
right.
Clench.
That's
You
right.
should have said clench. Oh, I love it. Anyway, sorry, your practice.
Punch on. Yeah, so I'm in my practice too. It's really interesting how we try to adapt to the stressors in our life, right? So when you walk someone through what their pattern is and
Mm,
you bring awareness to it, it's really shocking how we as a society, we actually want to keep that pattern going instead of releasing the pattern, right?
mhm, mhm,
So just acknowledging that it's society that's creating like the outer environment of those stressors, right? So when we become aware of what's happening in our bodies, in this case,
mhm.
the clench, right? Or the vagus nerve burnout, right? When we bring awareness to it, that's where that self-empowerment comes in. We can share with
Yeah.
you like the tools in the next episode for you to incorporate them in your everyday and just
Mhm.
little bit of peace of mind to your
Yeah.
mind and body, right? So your head, heart, and belly, because that's the whole crux of this.
Correct. Correct. I hope you guys have been following us because these are great little winners here. The crux of it.
Innuendos,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And the head, heart, belly, because we've obviously talked about that. So it's really, we get so heady. We kind of disconnect from our being, from our body, and from feeling and discerning. And so being able to drop back down into that three brain connection, head, heart, and belly is so imperative just for, again, health, function, flow, homeostasis. It's vital. Yeah. So
Maintenance.
cool. Well, Kelly, if you don't have anything else to add, let's because I'm excited for episode 3. I don't know about you
Yeah,
guys, but like I want to give you all the tools we have so that you can fill your toolbox with like 85 different screwdrivers so you can pick the one you need when you need it. Okay, there won't
55.
be 85, but it does sound like a good number.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we love you guys. We trust you're doing well, and we will catch you on the next episode. So have a great day.
Ciao for now.
Bye.